Hello, and welcome to REYDAR with Rian Reyes. You probably notice off the bat that things are different. It's because they are different. We're going with a new show title and kind of similar but new vibe, and I'll explain what I mean by that. First, I got to remind you, like, subscribe, leave a comment, watch to the end if you can. Hope you enjoy this. Our new @ is going to be at REYDAR Pod on all the sites. But everything else is the same, just new look, new feeling. A lot of that, to get into it, comes from just the changes that happened last year. The biggest thing being that, Dominic's no longer with the show, and that changed the trajectory of the show substantially. A lot of what we were as a group was driven by what Dominic was doing for the show. He kind of found the voice that we wanted, and we started it together, but it was definitely like Dominic's brainchild. And that's just something that I didn't want to have to worry about, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't want to set a standard for myself that wasn't my own standard. Instead of trying to make someone else's show, I want to make my own show. I want to give you what I have to offer, and I'm hoping that you're here for it, because it's going to be fun. Josh is still here. Say hi, Josh.
Hi, Josh.
See? Hilarious. Just good vibes all around. But it's going to be different. So, what I believe will be the main core that stays with this show is that because I am Latino and because my producer is Latino and we are Latinos making content, that vibe will always be there. It's, going way back to that clip, the popular clip from our old podcast, Isimo, where Dominic says, as long as you're making art and you're brown, you're making brown art. That sounded gross. That sounded like a poop joke. But you know what I mean. It's just like...
I just want us to make brown art together.
Gross. That's the new show, Brown Art. We're going to be... No. Oh, wow. But I hope that you understand what I mean. So we are going to... maintain. We're going to have a lot more Latinos. A lot of older guests are going to come back. A lot of new guests you've never seen before. And we're going to open... My main goal is to just open it to other things that I'm passionate about. And that's why I picked the name. The REYDAR has two sources. The first one is the goal of the podcast is to explore, entertainment in Los Angeles as a whole, whether it's comedy, whether it's the art scene, whether it's, dudes doing spin paint on the boardwalk in Venice. I want to explore all of it, and I want to be able to share what I'm passionate about and the things I'm interested in with you guys. And the other thing is, it's literally my name backwards. I know that's weird, but I like that. I've always wanted to do something with that, and now I get to, because it's my show. Why did that make you smirk, Josh?
Just because you were defending yourself against no one.
I know, it does sound defensive. I'm not trying to sound defensive. It's just like, I know that this is going to be a big change for a lot of people. As an autistic person, I definitely am one who is who struggles being autistic myself, I specifically struggle with change. And so I know that there's going to be an adaptive period. But as I've said before, all I can do is sell what I have to offer. And if you're here for it, great. And to be honest, if you're not, that's great too. Leave. Don't want you here. But if you stay, I love you. But if you don't, I don't need you.
But please stay.
Please stay. We need a lot of people to stay. There's a lot of people that I'm friends with. There's a lot of people that I'm interested in that I see on, TikTok and Instagram, people that I see all over Los Angeles doing creative things. And I don't think that they, get enough showcase, especially like in comedy scenes. When I hear people coming to LA and talking about what there is to do on the night, everyone says there's nothing to do. There's a shit ton to do here. There's 24-hour arcades. It would suck so hard to have executive dysfunction right now because I'm trying to list things. No, there's art groups, there's music groups. I've seen collage clubs, adults doing all this thing. There's literally, shouting out LA Friends is a great example of this, of just like new, unique things that our adults are doing to just not only be creative, but just to engage with each other, which I think is interesting. As someone who grew up in the 2000s and 2010s, I think that, online, there's been this great dissonance between like online and reality that has affected how society has developed and how adults develop knowing each other. On one hand, sites like Instagram and TikTok are the new business card. On the other hand, they remove the need to engage in person, and I do think that is a thing that is necessary for a society to exist. And so that's the other reason that I want to shout out these things happening in my community and the various communities that I'm a part of. So I'm very excited for it. I hope to have, there's a lot of, not to spoil anything off the bat, we have some great guests coming up, some, late night shows. I'm trying to get some people that there's a vaudeville scene. I don't know if you knew that. There's like what do you call it? Variety show. It's like, it's not just stand up. There's a couple I've been a part of and a couple I'd like to shout out. There's mics, there's reading clubs, there's people making their own books, making their own art. A lot of good stuff. And I'm very excited to showcase all of it. Also, I'm trying out some new looks. I'm trying out some new materials. This is old, but everything else I'm wearing is new. This is only a year old.
You can only see your shirt.
What?
You can only see your shirt.
Oh, I'm wearing new shoes and new pants. Trust me. They look good.
You want to start doing fit checks?
That would be dope. Maybe we could. That's the other thing is like there's a lot of production stuff that I want to try that, and not that we were afraid to before, but it was just like it didn't match the vibe of what we were doing. And now we have room for that vibe. But yeah, it's just, I don't want it to seem goofy or wacky. It's not going to be outrageous. It's not going to be P. Worm's Playhouse. Although this does look like this couch is related to that couch. Doesn't it? But it's going to be fun. That's the main goal. It's going to be fun. It's going to be chill. One of the main goals. I've listed a lot of goals. I hope I'm not giving myself too many goals. Imagine too many goals involving having fun. Imagine being stressed about having fun. How are we going to have fun, Josh?
I think we'll be just fine.
Hell yeah. That's what I'm looking for. I just threw out my arm. Did you ever do that like at school? Like find ways to fill in sentences during an essay that you were supposed to turn in?
I would never turn in work.
Me neither. I think homework is stupid, to be honest. It seems useless.
Homework, schoolwork. Oh, I hated all of it.
Yeah. We're alike in that way.
I think most kids are. But
I mean, most kids hate homework, but I find it as a concept. As an adult who no longer has to do homework, I still think it's stupid.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't think it's just tedious work we didn't want to do. I think it's tedious work we didn't need to do. Because my whole thing was like, if tests, especially when tests became like 45% of the grade or like 1/3 of the grade, if I'm proving that I've memorized the knowledge you want me to memorize, why do I have to do work? It's like, I remember getting in an argument with a teacher about this specifically where they're like, well, the homework is how you practice. I'm like, yeah, but I've just proven I don't need the practice. I practice my way. My way seems to work for me. If it was based solely on test grades, I would have gotten an A most of the time. At least a B plus. And I think that's sufficient. We don't need geniuses all the time. Half the time you get a genius, he does whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, look at me.
Look at Biff. The guy that plays, I gotta remember his name. I feel bad that I remember his Biff. Everyone remembers him. You know who I'm talking about, though. Biff from Back to the Future. That guy has a genius level IQ. What does he do? He sings songs on stage for comedy, which is great. I love it. I want to be clear. I love his work, but he doesn't have to be a genius to do that. He is.
Thomas F. Wilson.
Thomas F. Wilson. I like that dude. He's also a phenomenal voice actor. He's done a lot of animations that people aren't aware of. I mean, they're aware of the animations. They're just not aware he's doing. I also, to be honest, and maybe this is like my nerd breaking point, I miss when people didn't know about voice acting because then I could show off. And that's a little bit personal to me, and I'm being a little bit petty in that sense. But the level at which voice acting has been accepted now is just like, oh, I feel out of place. Because for the longest time, it was just like this thing that I obsessed about. And everyone, it's like that thing when you're a nerd about something and then everyone's into it suddenly. And then like you're no longer seen as a nerd. I'm like, okay. But then why was I getting my ass kicked?
Times are changing, man.
Times are changing.
Things are getting more accepted now. Niche is in. So like the community that you were looking for was always out there. Your access to it just wasn't.
True.
So the internet now gives you what you look for. So if you look for voice acting stuff, it's going to feed you voice acting stuff.
That's
I don't
true.
ever see any voice acting stuff.
I'm trying to get into
To me,
voice
it's
acting.
still just as unpopular as it ever was.
You bitch. We're fighting now. Hello, just wanted to give a quick shout out to Legacy Teas and Spices. It's a great selection of artisanal hand blended flavors and spices. They have everything for every perfect occasion. They have festive teas like Mexican ponche. They have health and wellness teas like turmeric ginger. Turmeric is great superfood. It's good for inflammation, good for digestion. I think it's even good for blood pressure. And there's always the classic #1 seller, vanilla lemongrass. So be sure to check it out. Use coupon code NEW25 for 25% off your next order, and enjoy the show. I got super obsessed with those DIY kawaii candies. Do you know those?
No, what's that about?
So they started, 2000, I want to say 2010, 2011, where the kawaii scene was super huge and people were dressing like, anime characters, and Hello Kitty was super popular, and it was like an aesthetic, a new aesthetic on the internet, and it was like sweeping high schools across the nation. And there was this thing, there's DIY kawaii candies, and they still make them. It's just like, this is when they were super popular, and you'd see unboxing videos about them. And essentially, it's just like you get a random collection of sugars and powders and gelatins, and each one's different, and there's different tools to designing it, and you make your own candy.
Okay.
And it's just like super simple and super fun. And it's one of the, a lot of people are into like those tiny mold things where you create aesthetics using these glass figurines. It's like a kind of like a puzzle you put together, and then when you're done, it's like a whole room. It's a very detailed mini room.
Interesting.
This is my version of that. I got one for Christmas last year, and it was like a whole McDonald's Happy Meal, and it was really fun. You'd start off with this paste, and then the paste dries and it becomes puffy and it feels like a hamburger bun. And then you make gelatin burger patties, and you make fries out of sugar candy. And then they gave you citric acid with Coke flavoring, and you make your own Coke.
Interesting. And it's just like a thing you could buy like online or something?
Yeah. There's also like, a lot of kawaii stores, like, and even just like Japanese, like knick-knack stores will have them. Shopping malls, but you can get like huge boxes of them. I actually have one coming in. It's supposed to come in this week. We're filming before it comes in, but by the time this will be out, it will have come in. So maybe in one of the future episodes, or maybe for bonus content, I can actually show you what they are. I'll bring some in because I'm supposed to be getting like a huge box of them. And it's just fun. It's like a fun puzzle. It is just making candy. It seems super silly and simple, but it's honestly super relaxing.
Yeah, I like doing all those kind of weird little like things. I used to like making the gummy monsters. Do you remember like the gummy bugs?
Like the Harry Potter thing?
There used to be a thing back in the 90s where it was like creepy crawlers or something like that. And
yeah.
it was like these gelatinous gummy things.
They made a Harry Potter themed one after the second movie came out.
Yeah,
and my grandparents, or my mom, I think it was my mom, bought one for me and my brothers. So we were supposed to share. After an hour, my brothers, the older ones, had gone through all of the candy, so we just had a toy left over. And they were like, you can have the toy. I'm like, I don't want the toy. I wanted to make eyeballs out of gelatin. Yeah. You took the whole fun out of it. That's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an analogy that makes sense. I was going to say cats in a box, but cats love the box. I just like small crafty things like that. I've always been into stuff like that. Like my brothers make fun of me for it now, but I used to like carve little swords and weapons for my toys.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, but it was fun.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I like doing that kind of stuff too. I just got a rotary tool.
Oh, for like glass etching?
I think you can do that with it, but it's like for like you can like cut wood.
Yeah.
Carve wood down with it. I'm going to embark on a project this year where I'm going to make a bunch of custom chess pieces for a chessboard.
Nice.
I think I'm going to turn this table into a chessboard.
That would be dope.
And like,
are you going to cover it? Like what's already there?
It'll be in the middle of it, so I'm going to cover some of it. Yeah, probably. So
we still have to see that shark lady.
I might even get another one and just make a fresh one, like so that it's like clean.
I'd like to get into resin. I had this idea for an emergency spoon that it was going to be a fidget toy that I targeted towards the autism community. Like, because spoon theory.
Yeah.
So it would be like emergency dopamine, and it would be like a collector's set. And I wanted like a very thin, like breakable resin, like it breaks on purpose, like a emergency fire hydrant. Mm-hmm. And then you break it open, and there's a spoon fidget in the center, and like some of them would boing, some of them would click, but it's like a little plastic spoon toy.
Interesting.
I think it's a great idea. I just don't have the means to make it TM.
Pez. They should dispense candy like Pez.
Yeah.
Because that's like a dopamine sugar, you know?
Yeah.
Get a little hit of dopamine.
Each one would be different, and then you'd like want to collect them all. Like those eggs with figurines in them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of examples of what I'm talking about.
There is.
But mine would be spoons.
When I was growing up, there was Wonder Ball. What's in a Wonder Ball? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, and then they stopped selling because kids kept eating them without checking. It's like, I always thought that was like, who are you giving, which kids are you giving these to?
You're putting plastic inside
of chocolate. The whole thing is that there's a toy inside.
Yeah.
How are you not checking? I mean,
well, you're putting it in chocolate.
But it says on the box. It's how they're marketing.
How many times have you read a box before you just ate the chocolate? Do you sit there and read a box?
If there's a toy inside, I want to know which one I can get.
I'm more into the chocolate than I am the toy. So I could understand a kid just being like, chocolate, and then just eating it, and then him being like, it's a child.
I would say they could bring those back, and all that would just like show, like, there's a lot of old stuff that's been banned that it's like, if the parents just got a little bit more involved. And I don't want to blame, I know parents should toy. I'm not trying to make any judgments.
It's a dumb toy.
But I'm saying, like, I feel like kids like that didn't see the toy just aren't visual learners. So you'd have to see someone open the toy first.
I get what you're saying, but putting plastic inside of a thing you have to eat isn't wise.
I mean, what I think they were doing, I guess I see what you're saying. Because it's not dipped in chocolate. It's like two chocolate shells and then they put them together.
Yeah.
They still do that with Kinder toys in England, but in America it's split between two sections. You get the candy and you get the toy.
It's not dumb.
Unless, actually, little in where is it? Fontana. There's like a little district of shops. One of them is a Waffle House, and they get their Kinder toys from England, so it's still chocolate with a toy inside.
Interesting.
Pretty fun. But the rule is, here's the thing. This is just like if you want those kind of toys, which you don't have to. You're probably all adults. They have to break the egg in front of you. So they just give you the toy. But you get to put it together yourself. I got a robot last time.
I don't even know what you're saying. But
so it's a chocolate egg.
Okay.
With the toy inside. But it's pieces of a toy in a little bag. You have to put the toy together yourself.
And they have to open the chocolate?
They have to crack the egg and open it and give you the toy. Because you're getting it over waffles. So they have to crack the egg in front of you and take the toy out and give it to you. They're not allowed to just give you the egg for safety reasons.
That's weird.
But the toys are much better. Because they're bigger eggs, too. Because the ones you get in America, they're like that big. You get like stickers or something. These ones from England, it's like that big. And you get a whole toy.
Interesting. Give me a sec. Okay, we've entered into the 28-minute area.
We started talking about new things though. New year, new ideas.
Yeah, new year, new ideas, new things. What have you been into?
I'm trying to get into a lot more crafts, a lot more art. My mom got me an easel and some canvases, so I'm going to be doing. Last year I did something new that I want to continue doing this year. I want to revisit, which was I would paint to music. This is how I do it, is I have a playlist of music that I like to listen to and zone out to, but I try to match the texture that I'm painting on the canvas to the music that I'm listening to. And last year I made a small series. It's just 3 or 4 of paintings with that, and they're not all great. Sometimes, you're just winging it, you're improvising. But a lot of them came out really well, and I want to revisit. I want to do 2 things with that. I want to revisit that idea and start doing it again, make a series of paintings. But I also, it gave me ideas for textures that I've never tried before that I want to incorporate in my regular design work. I also do freelance design. It's not, it's just me working from home. It's not like a whole ass business or whatever, but I am available. I do art. I did a logo. I have an art page actually, which you'll find in my link tree, which will be down below, so I don't have to talk about it. But I'm also trying to do. Last year, I was doing a series of Batman Loteria. I am going to redo that on paper that I can make prints from, and I'm actually going to try to make a whole deck of Loteria cards.
Nice.
It's a lot of new projects. What about you, other than the chessboard?
Yeah, I want to work on a chessboard. I want to work on... I'm getting back into music a little more. I've been playing the piano a little bit more. But I'm trying to start some new shows. This is one new project we got working on.
Yeah. This plus the dual, it's a Spectrum, which you help produce.
Right. It's a Spectrum's another one we're gonna probably lock in on pretty hard this year. Yeah. A couple of other shows down the pipeline that I can't really be too specific about, but other podcasts and other YouTube projects.
Nice.
That,
You know what else I'm trying to get into, that I'm hoping to get into this year, is more sketches.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to be way sketchier this year.
Not what I meant at all. Suddenly you're wearing, they can't see you, so you can wear whatever the fuck you want. For all you know, he has a mustache on.
I'm a 2D drawing in pencil.
That was a
sketch.
Yeah. But no, it's like we've come up with like a ton of ideas that we never got to try, and I come up with TikToks all the time. Sometimes if I can do it myself, I do, but I feel like if I just had people working with me, the quality would just be like so much better. Because for some reason I can't be one of those guys. There's a ton of dudes that are like great at it, just like from their phone and like a green screen behind them. But I'm just not one of those guys. I'm good at the concept. I'm not good at the execution. Yeah. So I'm hoping to get better at that this year.
Yeah, it's all, the only way to do it is to do it, you know?
Ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Yep.
It's from Hey Arnold.
They didn't make that up. No. That's the spirit. That's from Rocket Power.
Oh.
Did you ever watch Rocket Power?
Yeah. Can't remember any of it.
Hell yeah.
I feel like the guy that worked at the burger shop was a pothead. That's about all I remember.
The thing about creating is that you have to create in order to correct. You know what I mean? You have to like make something bad in order to make something good.
Yeah.
You can know you can know all of the things that make something good and then try and make that thing and you'll suck because you haven't. John Mulaney has a joke where he talks about he's like, my brain is really good at basketball, but it has to outsource the job to my body.
That's so funny.
He's like, and my limbs get all weird and noodly or something like that. I can't remember.
No, yeah. I mean, that's part of like why we're doing all this in the first place. It's just like, for the longest time, I wouldn't say I've coasted, but I feel like I've always been following someone else's concept, and now I want to like see if I can do it on my own. I mean, because I learned a lot from the last two projects that I've been a part of, and I do think that I have something to offer. It's like you said, it's just like I won't know until I try. Because there's a lot of things I didn't know I'd be good at, and then I tried it, and I was immediately good at it. Like the balloon thing. You've all seen the balloon thing. I learned that in a week.
Yeah. That's
the Mickey Mouse voice, first time I tried it, just came out.
Yeah, but you have to also understand that not everything's going to be like that. You know what I mean?
Everything's going to be like that.
Yeah. I have a friend who like plays a lot of games, but he won't play any game that he's not good at. So if he like doesn't like the game, kind of, he won't continue trying it. And it stops somebody from getting better at something because they're like focusing on the things that they're already good at. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I kind of get that. And I think I used to be like that for the longest time. So there's just stuff that I wasn't into.
Yeah. I don't know which one's better, really. Because like focusing on things that you are good at naturally isn't a bad thing. I'm a jack of all trades. And so I like to do multiple different hobbies. I like hundreds of different hobbies. Same. Thousands. Am I boring you? Oh, I can't say that anymore. That's the old me.
New year, new me. No, but I see what you're saying. That's what I mean. It's just like, it's not that I'm confident that it'll 100% work. It's like, I'm confident that I know that trying is worth it.
Okay. You're confident that you know that trying is worth it.
Like, I don't have to be, if it doesn't work, it's not a big deal. And we'll just move on to something new.
That's true. That's true. But also, well, that's the thing about, I don't do things because they work or not, you know? I just like to do things, so I do them.
That's what I'm saying.
If I like them.
For the longest time, I didn't.
Even if it works for you.
What I'm saying is that for the longest time, I was holding off on doing things because I didn't know if it would work or not. Because I knew that I had a concept in my head, but I knew that I wasn't great at executing things all the time. In that time, since I've been doing all these other projects, I have learned that sometimes it's worth it to just try. I've learned that I won't know until I try, because there's things that I've tried and that didn't work out. And then there's things that I did that I was immediately good at. And that's not to say that it's always going to be this or that. There's a gradation to these things, but that's what I mean when I say like I'm confident enough to try.
Training is a big deal.
Yeah.
It takes time to learn.
Is this a song right now?
No.
It just felt like the beginning of like one of those promotional rap songs that people work out to.
No.
Would you call what The Rock did rapping? I'd call it chanting.
When?
He was part of a rap song. I forgot who. He's like, we devour something power. It felt like a cheerlead.
If you
Chant.
rapping is saying words in a rhythm to a beat.
Is it just that though? Because
Yes.
that is also chanting. Like cheerleading?
Rapping is, they chant and raps a lot.
I guess.
A lot of music has chanting though,
I
actually.
feel like there's more nuance to rap. But that's my opinion. Is there anything that's more, traditional New Year's goal that you have?
A traditional, well, I mean, the same one I do every year to lose weight, but who am I kidding? I ate 3 tamales this morning.
No,
on the
yeah.
2nd. The 2nd of January.
Shit, now you have to eat
Which
3
is
tamales.
today.
No, I get you. I try to maintain. I used to do goals every year, and then I'd never complete them. Like 90% of all people that do goals at New Year's.
I think the problem with goal setting is that you have an idea of like working towards something without really working on habit changing.
Yeah.
Goal setting is all about habit changing. And when you don't change your habits, you can't just like...
Well, that's what I was going to get into is like the way I started looking... Sorry, if you had more to say.
No, I was basically done. I was just saying that habit changing is like a big part of the whole thing.
Yeah. That's definitely...
Training.
Sorry. That's definitely how I started thinking about it of like... Instead of setting a goal of like, oh, just lose weight, it's like, no, I can always have that as a life goal. What I should be directing these fluff. What I should, I can always have that as a goal without it being a New Year's goal. I think if I'm going to give myself a start and stop of the way people do with New Year's, it should be more, this is the technique I try, or this is like the habit that I break, and this is how I do it. So like a New Year's goal, instead of the New Year's goal being, drop 100 pounds, it should be more like trying vegan or trying vegetarian for a while. Not vegan. Vegan is like socioeconomically difficult to accomplish.
I think any one thing like that's pretty hard to just switch to. I've been in the mindset that I'm going to like do singular things. Like I'm going to try and eat more of this on these days. I'm like, wait until a certain time to eat, or like eat between these hours. You know what I mean? And I'm not like trying to be so restrictive on my diet because I have a habit of being extreme. I don't know if you've ever met me. I'm a little extreme. So I'll be like, oh, diet? No problem, dude. I'm going to eat nothing for 6 weeks. You know what I mean? And I'll just like eat grilled chicken with no seasonings. And I'll just like man it out. Yeah. But then you just binge lose a bunch of weight and you don't actually change your habits. And then you go right back into just eating fast food. Just do it. Just do it.
It's stifled. It's gone.
It's crazy.
No, I get that. I mean, that's kind of what I mean. Whereas like instead of doing these extreme short-term goals or like thinking... instead of thinking of what I mean is instead of thinking of a vague concept of a goal, like actually define what the goal is going to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like setting a distance that I know I can walk and then increasing it by like
exactly
5 feet, 10 feet every
baby steps on the
week
elevator.
Yeah. And then what does he do?
Huh?
You said baby steps on an elevator.
Oh. It's a reference to a movie, What About Bob?
Oh, that's funny.
He goes to the therapist, and the therapist's whole thing is about baby steps. And he's like, just baby steps. And then the character takes it literal. Mother of God. You just can't listen to me talk for 10 seconds.
It's not you. The chair is wearing off. But, so he literally
takes little baby, and he's like, I can
funny.
go anywhere with baby steps. He's like, baby steps on the elevator, and he like slowly walks onto the elevator because he's a hypochondriac,
right?
And he like can't function in society.
Bum bum bum.
It's a really good movie.
It's a good movie. That'll be a new goal, is to watch that movie.
Hell yeah. Baby steps, man. It's all about baby steps. What else were we talking about?
We just have general New Year's goals, techniques.
Yeah, it's always about changing slightly. You know what I mean? You don't have to drastically redo it. It's funny because that's literally what we did with this episode. We 100% hard turned. So should we rephrase that maybe? Only an idiot would make a harsh decision and switch everything about his life.
I think what I mean is just like we're actualizing things we haven't done before. You know what I mean? Like this was done in BB steps. I don't know where that accent came from.
You're possessed. You got possessed.
Sleep region. Anyway, that's a stereotype. Anyway,
you are sleepy.
I am sleepy.
And you have no agency.
Son of a bitch. No, I just mean like my baby steps happened in the years of planning this. Getting good at on camera right. Persona, getting good at public speaking.
Right. My baby steps happened in my infant years.
Stupid. I was walking by the time I was 8 months, bitch. Sorry. I'm just posting.
Also, months were years to me.
Yeah. But like I did accomplish small goals. I did episodes by myself. Once Dominic left, I immediately hosted with several guests. But like, I was in the big chair, so to speak.
I was at the top of my.
I was hosting. I was
kidding.
Comparable. Those episodes did well. People liked them because I took a bigger producing role in the show than I had prior, and it felt accomplishable. And I think that's kind of big for me, especially like with all my issues with executive dysfunction and whatnot.
I was in the alma mater of Psi Kappa Bay.
He did what to his bay? Sorry.
I was just trying to make up a... Because you're being like, I hosted, I did this, I was the president of my chess team.
No, I'm just like trying to show like
I'm just
general progress. I started with I think just walking a block, now I'm walking a mile.
Oh, so I get what you're saying. Okay. Do it again, and I won't make fun of you this time.
I'm like nervous. No, like what I'm saying is I know this seems like a huge flip for everyone. The new logo, the new intro, me by myself. But there were small steps towards this. Even when Dominic and I were doing this weekly and we were able to control our schedule, I was doing episodes on my own. I was practicing with public speaking. I had a lot of chances to not only coordinate and curate the episodes themselves, but like expand my social circles online and purview and expand my repertoire and learn the things that Dominic was doing for myself. Like the last, I would say how many episodes did we do last year? The last like 8 episodes after Dominic and Ricky stopped coming, that was all me. The topics, the guests, all the coordinating, and I felt confident enough that I can, do my own thing. That coupled with what I was talking about at the beginning of just like, it is always going to be a different show as long as that change happened, and I'm learning to adapt, which in its own right is a huge milestone for me. Because as I said before, like as an autistic person, I have a specific struggle with change and adaptation. Routine, my brain seeks routine and is structured. Even though I also have ADHD, which that's like probably the shittiest combination, is having a disorder that requires structure and having a disorder that specifically gets bored with structure. So like I require routine to maintain myself, but if the routine is too, what's the word? Not rhetoric, that's the wrong word. Tedious and too like, there's this word on the tip of my tongue. Yeah. That's some physical humor. Scrupulous, then I get bored of it, and I don't want to do it anymore. And that's such a weird thing for me. But I feel like through all the various therapies that I've tried and things that I've learned about the disorder and I've learned about myself, I'm finding a middle ground for that. So honestly, all that to say, I know I kind of rambled again, but I'm very excited for the future. Very excited for what we have cooking. I'm also a very good cook. So the last thing I'll say is just keep your mind open. Be aware of what's on your radar.